How's it going, guys? This is Al coming at you once again. This is the Week 6 Monday Night Football first look for the single game showdown on DraftKings. We have the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. It's going to be a great Monday Night Football game. We're going to look at the 6 players that you can, different combinations of 6 players that you can utilize for that Monday Night Showdown, whether it's going to be for your cash games, your head-to-heads, your double-ups, your 50-50s, or for your GPPs, your tournaments, your large field, your 100-man games, and maybe trying to win first place in that $1.25 million tournament on Monday night. If you guys like this content, please drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. I know that about 70% of y'all who watch these videos are not subscribed yet, so we could really blow up this channel if you guys would help me out. It would mean a lot to me moving forward in the growth of this channel and doing what I do to see you guys subscribe and ring that notifications bell. So please, if you do like the videos, drop me a comment down below and do those 3 things for me. It would be great, and I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for the support. We crossed 13,000 subscribers on this channel this week, maybe 2 weeks until we're at 15K. So it's all on you guys. I'll keep putting out the information. I'll keep putting out these videos as long as you guys support the channel. So thank you very much for the continued support, and let's get to the video. So we're looking at this game here, and we'll start at the top like we always do and just go down the list. Aaron Rodgers, the cover boy for this video. Obviously, I think he's going to be the most popular player, A, in the captain spot, and B, overall on the slate. He's the player that you have to have. If you subscribe to the cash game philosophy, and it's also can be a tournament philosophy if you have enough cheaper players to fit in around them, you want to play your highest net projected player, your highest raw projected player, in the captain spot. Double those points, gives you a ton. Aaron Rodgers at 12-2 for a flex spot, and I think he's over 18K for one of the captain spots. Definitely somebody that I'm considering for this week in my captain, and to massively overweight him if I go mass multi-entry in this 50, 100, or 150 lineups in this Monday night tournament. Somebody that I'm going to try and take an overweight position versus the field. Aaron Rodgers does everything for the Green Bay Packers. He has a 25 to 35 point expectation anytime he takes the field. Yes, they do have a couple of talented running backs, but the Packers game revolves around Aaron Rodgers and the passing game. Now, even with a couple of his top receivers out last game, and they're both questionable here on this slate, and we'll get to them in just a bit, he was still able to put up 442 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 33 DraftKings points against Detroit. He squares off against San Francisco, who has issues in their secondary as well. Somebody I think you should be in consideration for captain. Davante Adams obviously gets a massive bump if Cobb and Allison are both out. We saw that in the last game, and he was under-owned. I don't think that's going to be the case going to Monday Night Football, just because, A, it's a single-game slate, so the ownership is more concentrated on the top players always. You're just not going to get guys that are massively under-owned unless it's like a $200 player or a $1,200 player that nobody's really considering, that happens to find their way into the end zone once or twice, like we saw a couple of weeks ago with Aldrick Robinson on the Vikings. Davante Adams, though, priced up very, very highly at 11.6 for a non-captain for a flex spot. I don't know if we can fit both Rodgers and Adams optimally in a cash game lineup, but I mean, obviously we're going to try. 12 targets last game, 14 the week before. Every single season, Aaron Rodgers, basically, if that he's healthy, throws about 12 touchdowns on the year to his number 1 wide receiver, 4 already on the year for Davante Adams. I don't see things changing. Basically, look, 1 touchdown in 4 of the first 5 games with double-digit targets in 3 of those 4. So somebody who needs to be on your radar and somebody that we should be trying to fit into lineups, even though we may not be able to. Also a captain candidate for me if he posts a huge game. But if he posts a huge game, so did Aaron Rodgers. The savings there are going to be kind of minimal from one to the next. Beathard is another candidate for quarterback, for captain as a quarterback. As much as I don't know that he's the most talented quarterback in the league, he's in a very good system in his second year in it, and is getting the most out of all the weapons that he has around him. Now, at 8,800 for a flex spot, I think he's more than playable in your flex, and I think that if you put him in your captain, he opens up a lot more for you as well, to allow you to get Rodgers and one other guy because of the savings at captain. We can kind of take a look real quick. If you put him at captain, he's 13,000, saves you 5K, basically 5,100 coming down from Rodgers to Beathard at your captain spot. Is there risk involved there? Yes, of course there is. Quarterbacks, though, do have a tighter band of scoring, right? A top game for a quarterback is 30 to 35 points. An average game for these guys is 15 to 22 points. So if Beathard, who has scored, what did he get the first 2 games that he played? 27.5 and 19, just under 20. If he scores 19 again here, getting you that 1.5 points for the captain spot, sitting at around 30 points for your captain is not terrible. Now, if he posts a really bad game, kind of like Deshaun Watson did on Sunday, then it obviously is going to kill your lineup. But typically speaking, quarterbacks do float between 15 and 25 rather often. So a cheaper captain spot with a higher floor that allows you to fit in one more stud and not have one less punt in your lineup if you want to go with Beathard at captain. Kittle is questionable, but he's practiced limited all week long, so they're expecting him to go. He's listed as questionable, but expected to play on Monday night. 7,800 for him. Obviously, Beathard's favorite target, probably the best target outside of Goodwin on San Francisco in total, but Beathard's inability to get the ball outside the hashes and focus on guys that are on the inside makes Kittle a more palatable play. Moving to the next player, Jimmy Graham, kind of utilized as we thought he would be, floating in the between 5 and 10 targets most games last week with everybody out, got up to 11, but not really an explosion. Aaron Rodgers, for whatever it's worth, doesn't really look to his tight ends a ton in the red zone, and that's borne out by the past 3-4 years that he's been healthy. He wasn't healthy last year, but all the games that he's played since he had that big tight end from Texas on his team, there's really, on the Packers, there really hasn't been a lot of tight end success floating around in Green Bay. He always goes to his wide receivers, whether it was Jordy Nelson or Cobb, and now Devontae Adams. That's who he looks to in the red zone. That's where he operates. Jimmy Graham definitely in play. Always a 2-touchdown candidate. It's just less likely, it seems, on a game-to-game basis. I think it will happen at some point this year. He'll have multiple touchdowns. I just don't know if I can peg exactly when it's going to come. Coming down, here's where the issues come into play. We have Geronimo Allison, who is questionable. Didn't really practice all that much this week. Sure game time decision here. Randall Cobb practiced a little bit this week, also listed as questionable, but is also a game time decision. If both of them sit, that brings MVS back into play. Valdez-Scantling posted a ridiculous game last week, 10 targets, 7 catches, got himself into the end zone for 19.8. He's no longer a value. He's no longer an unknown. If both of those guys are listed out an hour, 90 minutes before lock time, all of a sudden Valdez-Scantling becomes somebody that a lot of people are going to be looking to on this slate. Aaron Jones, not enough volume for me. That's the issue here. Between Jones and Williams, just not enough volume. And until one of them sits out, I don't know that we can project 15 plus touches for either one of them. And until then, neither one becomes a cash game play for me. Both are just strictly tournaments. Now we're into the mid-range plays. Garcon, questionable. Breida, questionable. Morris is the one who's gotten a lot more work. Breida taking on the number 2 role. Even when healthy, I think he still stays in that. Morris's usage in the passing game, 8 targets over the last 2 weeks, is definitely an upswing for him. He's never going to be somebody who gets 8-9 targets in a game. But 5 targets for Alfred Morris is very encouraging in DraftKings full PPR scoring. With 18 touches on the ground, anytime you can get 21 touches out of a running back, I don't know that you're going to see that this week with them projected to have to chase Green Bay down. Breida might play a little bit more. We'll see how that pans out. So let's take a look at a couple of lineups. Obviously, we have the kickers and the defense down here. And here's the big gap, right? The 6K to 4K drop that we see pretty much every week. So let's try and build a Rodgers lineup. If we put Rodgers in there, we want to have Beathard just for chasing and floor ability. I don't know that we can get this, right? We'd have to have too many cheap guys. The question is, would you rather have Adams? Or would you rather go with Kittle and get the savings there? Come down maybe to MVS, assuming. I'm going to assume that Allison or Cobb, one of them sits out and one of them plays, just for the sake of argument for this particular lineup right here. So if we throw in MVS, that leaves us with 4,100. Gives us a couple of options that we can go with. One, we can plug in Alf Morris, or we can plug in Matt Breida. Breida had limited usage, right? Which is kind of what we thought, right? You're going to get about 10 to 15 touches out of him a game. He's not a 20 to 25 touch back, especially with Alf Morris there. He got 9 last week. He got 12 the week before, 13, 14. This is kind of where he's going to sit as long as he's on this team. But it gives you, you're getting value out of him, right? You still have 1,700. On a normal slate, we wouldn't want to use that. On a slate like this, you can. Mostert looked really good in preseason, but I don't think he's going to get any touches. Opening up maybe somebody like Lance Kendricks. If you're playing somebody down here, you're just kind of hoping that they fall into the end zone. That's what a Rodgers team kind of looks like to me. Now, if we swap these two, right? Again, this is a first look. Do not Command V this. Do not copy paste this lineup and say, well, you said to play these guys. It's kind of dumb, right? You're going to YouTube to just copy and paste a lineup into something. I'm sitting here doing a first look, just walking through some situations for you guys. At the end of the day, you have to click submit on these lineups, and we're 24 hours before the game starts. So you have to be able to make these decisions kind of yourself. So if we plug that in, we have Aaron Rodgers. Now we can beef this up. 3,400 for here. We can go with a kicker, Robbie Gould. We still have Ty Montgomery. Again, Ty Montgomery really only playing 20 to 25 snaps a game. This is not the same usage that we saw from him in the past where he was playing 90% of snaps. His body can't handle playing that much. So if you're going to play him, just realize you're only getting 4, 5, 6 touches. You have to hope he falls his way into the end zone or catches a lightning in a bottle for a long play, because the reality is you're just not going to get a ton of volume down there with him. 49ers defense, probably not going to be the way that I want to go. There's 2 players that are cheap that we do want to look at if you want extreme value. Okay? There's 2 guys that are super cheap and sitting in the 200 range. So the first one is Richie James Jr. Not playing a ton. These are guys that you're hoping they catch 2 balls. You're hoping for 25 yards. So you can fit everything in. Richie James is, you just want to stack everybody for tournaments and try to catch lightning in a bottle. He's one. Bolden Jr., another one at 200. Again, 4 targets, not much there, right? But just looking at what you can do if you throw one of them in flex, either one, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So if we just plug one in to see what else you can fit in there. If we plug in Bolden in here. And now we want to go after the Rodgers lineup. We want to go after this here. We want to have Kittle. We want to have this. Now you can fit all those guys in. And it becomes very possible to do. So it depends on what route you want to take. It depends on what you're looking to do with your cash game lineup or your tournament lineups. And also, it depends how many lineups you're building. I said it last time. I'll say it again. I play these Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football slates for fun. I try to make my money every Sunday on the 12-game slates. Way less variance, a lot more that you can take advantage of, and a lot of different ways that you can go after tournaments. I do enjoy these single-game showdown slates, but I'm not playing a lot of... I'm not making as much of an investment in them as I am in the main Sunday slates on every night of an NBA schedule where there's 7, 8, 9, sometimes 12 games in NBA, where I'm really going after it trying to make money. I play these casually. I play them for fun. I would suggest that you do the same. It can make the game a little bit more fun for you to watch, give you a couple players to root for, and give you a sweat when that 4th quarter rolls around. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click like. Subscribe button's right there. And I'll catch up to you next time. See you guys later. Bye.